Welcome to the One Life 5-minute leadership blog. We've been dealing with communicating vision. We started by looking at the various methods we can use as pastors, your church announcements, websites, social media, etc. Then we had to look at the actual talk itself. And then last session, we looked at 13 principles that are useful in communicating. Now I would like to talk into a basic communication model that I bumped into many years ago. I can remember when I was growing up, there was a real estate company, estate agents, who went by the name AIDA. And I didn't know what that meant actually, A-I-D-A. But when I got to varsity and did some communication theory, I understood that it was an acronym for attention, interest, desire, action. If you're wanting to inspire someone to follow through, first thing you've got to do is get their attention. And you've got to make yourself heard. You've got to cut through the clutter. Now, some useful tools to do that are using contrast, loud against soft, light against dark, dramatic imagery, contrast in your word selection, headlines of a narrative standing out, jumping out to catch your attention. Once you've got their attention, they now are aware that you're communicating, but they're not about to follow through yet. You've got to create interest. You've got to draw out their interest. You've got to engage in communication, a conversation. And you do this by asking provocative questions, making them think, drawing them into the conversation, drawing them into what you are saying, appealing to things that interest them, needs that they have. But just because he's aware and just because he has an interest doesn't mean necessarily he's going to go for it. It's got to move from interest to actually an ownership of it, a desire to do it. Yes, I want that. I think God has that for me. I think my family would do well going there, and create a longing to go. And now obviously, we're asking the Holy Spirit to guide us through this, to give us a voice and to give us understanding on how to reach their hearts and to give us the ability to be able to move their hearts. And so we're just the vehicles. We're trusting that the Holy Spirit gets their attention, gets their interest, and then creates a longing to move into the things of God in a deeper and deeper way. But all that is useless if you haven't thought through very clearly the action that you're requiring of them. And so how many good communication exercises have faltered at the last hurdle? Not knowing who to contact, not knowing when the event is going to take place, not knowing how much to pay or what they have to do to get to that particular thing. I've seen an advert recently while I was preaching at a church, and I said to my wife, what was that about? It was incredible cinematography. It was clearly to do something with women, but the month wasn't even put in play. There was this presumption that everybody knew what this was. If you are communicating something without giving the action that needs to be taken, you are just creating an awareness. And so this is a useful model to use when you are communicating, whether it be on video form, newspaper form, a letter that you write, or a talk that you give. Have you got their attention? Have you evoked their interest? Are they fiddling on their phones and distracted with other things? Have you drawn them into the conversation? Have you seen a desire begin to develop inside of them? And once they're ready for that, call them to action. Call them to action. Send them to sign up. Put something in their hands that demands that they act on what you're calling them to. Well, I hope this has been helpful. Leaders have to communicate. They have to, by very nature of their job description, inspire people to go where they wouldn't ordinarily go. Have fun doing it.